Hello there, thanks for joining me this Saturday. I'm Ras Adibaratzi and these are tonight's headlines. Malaysian restaurant owner brain dead after New York racist attack. Israelis are not welcome in Malaysia, says PM. And at least 21 killed in Mexico fuel pipeline fire. Assalamualaikum. We begin tonight's bulletin with this story. A Malaysian restaurant owner in New York was left brain dead after he was badly wounded in a suspected racial attack. 60-year-old Ng Tang Kiong was attacked by a crazed man who stormed into his restaurant and bludgeoned 3 people with a hammer on January 15th. According to witnesses, the suspect, identified as 34-year-old Arthur Martinovich, burst into the popular Seaport Buffet restaurant in Brooklyn and began bashing the owner and 3 of the staff members on their heads with a hammer. Johor native Ng Tang Kiong was badly wounded and pronounced brain dead by the NYU Langone Medical Center. A restaurant employee, 34-year-old Chef Fufai Pon, died from his injuries. It was reported that another victim had died, but it wasn't clear whether the deceased was the owner or restaurant manager Sir Mat Pon, aged 50, who was also in critical condition. Martinovich fled the scene but was tracked down by police shortly after. A law enforcement officer had indicated that the construction worker had problems with Asian men. He has been charged with murder, attempted murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Police have crippled a drug syndicate with the arrest of 4 men during separate raids in the capital and the Klang Valley on Wednesday. An assortment of drugs worth 2.14 million ringgit were also seized.
Kita tengok daripada keempat tangkapan ini, mereka juga ada memiliki ataupun mempunyai rekod dadah di bawah Seksi 39B dan juga Seksi 15.2 sebagaimana yang saya sebutkan tadi. Dan saringan awal ke atas keempat tangkapan ini adalah negatif.
The authorities believed the suspects, aged between 26 and 33, have been operating for the past 10 months. The seizure included 19.6 kilograms of materials to produce shabu, 11.8 kilograms of heroin, 1.5 kilograms of shabu, 4,250 Aramin 5 pills, and 3,380 ecstasy pills. The suspects have been remanded for 7 days to assist investigations. Fearing he would get arrested for possessing drugs, a lorry driver was determined to hit a police patrol vehicle before speeding off with his lorry. The incident took place about 12:30 a.m. today at Jalan Lunas in Kulim after 2 policemen from the Lunas police station spotted the suspect in a suspicious manner. During his escape bit, the 45-year-old suspect hit the police patrol vehicle several times, but he was later arrested after the policemen called for backup from the Kulim police headquarters due to the man's aggressive behavior. State Police Chief Superintendent Muhammad Nasir Jaafar said authorities found a long parang in the passenger seat and a transparent plastic packet of shabu weighing 43 grams inside the suspect's pants pocket. His driving license and road tax too have expired. The suspect, who tested positive for drugs, is being investigated under the Dangerous Drugs Act and the Road Transport Act. Police have retained 4 housemates of an Indonesian woman who was allegedly murdered at her rented house in Taman University, Sri Kembangan at about 5 p.m. on Thursday to assist in investigations. Serdang Police Chief ACP Ismadi Borhan said the 2 men and 2 women, all Indonesians, were remanded for 5 days from yesterday. The motive of the incident is believed to be due to misunderstanding or jealousy due to a third person, namely a lover or another companion. ACP Ismadi also said early investigations revealed that the victim was believed to have had an Indonesian boyfriend who had proposed to marry her. In a statement issued yesterday, he added that authorities are currently tracking down the boyfriend who had fled. He further stated that a mobile phone belonging to the victim was believed to have been taken by the suspect. The post-mortem on the victim at the Serdang hospital found the death was caused by possible strangulation, with no other injuries, including signs of rape, detected. Moving on, the price of water under the 1962 water agreement with Singapore is grossly unfair and must be resolved. According to Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, the price of raw water sold to Singapore is at 3 cents per gallon, but Malaysia buys back treated water from the Republic at 50 cents for every 1,000 gallon. The Premier said this at the prestigious Oxford Union in the United Kingdom, where he is the first Malaysian and the first democratically elected ASEAN leader invited to speak there. On arrival, Tun Dr. Mahathir was welcomed by Oxford Union President Daniel Wilkinson and taken for a tour around the association's facilities. Accompanying the Prime Minister was Youth and Sports Minister Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman, Deputy Foreign Minister Datuk Marzuki Yahya, Foreign Ministry Secretary General Datuk Sri Muhammad Sharul Ikram Yaakob and Dewan Rakyat Speaker Datuk Muhammad Arif Muhammad Yusof. Themed democracy and touching on the 93-year-old Premier's leadership in the country, as well as foreign relations, several issues were brought up in the hall. Among the questions posed to Tun Dr. Mahathir during the hour-long session was Malaysia's water agreement with Singapore.
I don't like to say this openly. I like to talk to the leaders. But since you asked the question, this is grossly unfair to pay 3 cents. 3 Malaysian cents, which is equivalent to half a US cent, with the US cents. But when we ask to negotiate the price, because they can sell to us at a higher price also, but we want to negotiate the price that is much more reasonable. Paying 3 cents for 1,000 gallons is absurd. In 1926, when the figure was mentioned, it was okay at that time, but it's not okay now. We are different countries. We have to get back our money. For years, Singapore has benefited.
He also said the 1962 water agreement needs to be reviewed in order to resolve the issue, as Singapore has been reaping the benefits for many years. Meanwhile, Tun Dr. Mahathir firmly defended Malaysia's blanket ban on all Israelis participating in events in the World Para-Swimming Championships in July. The Premier said the Israelis have no reason to come to Malaysia, as we do not have diplomatic ties with them. Tun Dr. Mahathir also stressed he is free to express his views on Israel and the Jews, based on the universally accepted principle of freedom of speech.
In Malaysia, we have had no diplomatic relationship with Israel at all, till that they were doing a lot of wrong things, but getting away. I can understand this. We talk about freedom of speech, and yet you cannot say anything against Israel, that they are something that will be regarded as anti-Semitic by the Jews. That is their right to hold such opinion of me. It is my right to tell them also that they have been doing a lot of wrong things.
The Oxford Union has a tradition of hosting debates and speakers dating back since 1823. It is a setup entirely separate from the university and has a reputation of inviting renowned guests and international speakers. Earlier in London, Tun Dr. Mahathir had a meeting with the Commonwealth Secretary-General, Baroness Patricia Scotland. Among the topics that were touched on included trade and investments among Commonwealth nations, as well as the aspect of good governance. The Selangor State Government will be hosting a real estate fair in collaboration with developers to offer sales of luxurious homes starting at 400,000 ringgit with additional discounts. State Exco on Housing and Urban Living, Haniza Muhammad Talha, said more than 24,000 luxurious homes in the state contribute to the property overhang statistics in the country, sending a message to developers that more affordable housing priced at 250,000 ringgit and below are needed.
Okey, setakat ini rumah-rumah Selangorku, iaitu rumah mampu milik negeri Selangor, belum ada lagi lah yang overhang, tidak ada yang tak terjual. Ya, semua maknanya dalam proses kita memberikan senarai nama lah kepada pemaju-pemaju untuk diproseskan, ya, pemilikannya.
She added homes valued at 250,000 ringgit and below are actually in high demand, with the state targeting 30,000 units to be constructed within 3 years. Haniza stressed that this is the state government's policy on housing, including tightening the conditions for developers through a technical committee and the main Selangorku Homes program. This came after several parties, including the National Home Buyers Association, had urged the government to look into the property overhang issue more seriously. Coming up, runaway tyre causes stir on busy Semenyih Road. Don't touch that dial. I'm Rasa Dibaratzi and you're still with us on 7Edition. For years, it has been a craze for halal or Sharia-compliant products and services in Malaysia, from the halal ice cream to the Sharia-compliant hotel. And of course, we all remember Rayani Air, the country's first Sharia-compliant airline. The latest addition catering to this need is the Salam Web, a Sharia-compliant web browser designed to keep Muslims around the globe to discover, connect and contribute in a free and safe online environment. Ridwan Hussein reports.
Unveiled by the Salam Web Technologies and Y Sendirian Berhad on Thursday, the digital ecosystem aims to empower the global Muslim and assist them to lead a digital life which is consistent with their values and beliefs. Endorsed by Amani Sharia Supervisory Board in conformity with Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation's MDEX Islamic Digital Economy Mikyar, Salam Web designed to optimize the Islamic way of life.
It's about ethical browsing, but in order for you to reach that type of ethical browsing, you need some form of foundation or guidelines. And of course, Islam has that very structured principles. So we adopt that as the basis of principle, and that's why we're different than other browsers for at least two things. One, we are doing that in our Sharia way, and secondly, this tool is to be used by community.
On functionality, the browser have inbuilt features such as Qiblat compass, prayer timings and a custom news feed aggregated from verified news sources. Inspired by Google's open-source web browser project Chromium, Salam Web introduced a range of connected internet services including Salam Web Browser, Salam Sadaqah, Salam Chat and Salam News. Also an important feature of the browser, the Salam Protect, an advanced content filter customized to an individual's way of life.
Salam Protect alerts users on inappropriate content, allowing them an option to either continue ahead or withdraw from the content. These include content which could be potentially explicit, offensive or fraudulent.
Salam Web Technologies also planning to invest 61.7 million ringgit in the next 2 to 5 years to fortify the browser in a bid to encourage ethical internet usage. The investment would focus on human resources, technologies and equipment to improve the browser user experience. While on the evolving e-commerce landscape, it said plans are in the pipeline for future product development in Sharia-compliant e-commerce platform. Ridwan Hussein reporting for 7Edition.
Now, let's take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. From potholes to reckless drivers, Malaysian road users must always keep a wary eye while driving on the roads. But recently, Semenyih commuters were caught by surprise when a runaway tyre rolled into busy traffic in the area. The hair-raising incident was captured by a passing motorist's cell phone, and the clip has since gone viral with over 27,000 views since its upload on Thursday. Several motorists are luckily spared a close encounter with the kamikaze tyre, but the projectile wheel finally collides with a pickup truck, forcing the truck's bumper, grille and possibly headlights to instantly disintegrate, fall to the pavement and scatter across the road. Fortunately, the truck driver was able to stop his or her vehicle in time, and other motorists were a safe distance away and unaffected by the bizarre accident. So remember, when you see a runaway tyre on the roads, please do tread lightly. Now, Updated as of 7 p.m. Here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. Now it's time for our My Game On segment, bringing you the latest esports news in Malaysia. Gone are the days where men dominated the esports scene through gender-biased tournaments and leagues. Organisers are now supportive to aspiring female athletes by hosting more all-female tournaments, such as the Flight of the Valkyries. Wan Izul Islam has the story.
Welcome to the Flight of the Valkyries, the first ever offline all-female Dota 2 competition held in Asia. A total of 6 teams with players competing from 6 different countries will be competing for a prize pool of 20,000 ringgit. Let's go and find out more. The tournament is an offline platform for women to hone their skills and compete against one another in a professional setting. Over 50 teams competed in the qualifiers, where only 6 teams were chosen to take part in the grand finals this weekend. Among the participating teams include Asterisk from Singapore, Archangel and Pacific Pink from the Philippines, as well as White Gib from China. Hoping to become a benchmark for future all-female tournaments, Flight of the Valkyries aims to be the voice of female empowerment in esports.
This would be a good platform for the shy and introverted girls to get a chance to actually compete on a professional level and get a taste of how it's like to be a competitive gamer, and thus encouraging even more female gamers to participate.
With the 2019 SEA Games in the Philippines featuring esports as an official event, more female participants need to come forward to take part in the women's game categories. Team Asterisk hopes to become one of the teams competing in the upcoming SEA Games and will look towards strengthening their current lineup during this tournament.
Probably to see if we can continue playing together. I think it will help if there are other competitions or leagues ongoing throughout the year instead of just a one-off thing.
Few organizations have also begun championing the growth of female esports athletes and aspiring female talents, especially across the Asia-Pacific and Southeast Asia region.
There are tons and tons of very passionate female gamers across different games, right? PUBG, Mobile Legends, and whatnot. And yeah, it's been a pleasure to work with brands like Corsair and event operators like Battle Arena to support this growing initiative.
There, we want to create a gender equality for women, and we want to have this platform to attract more women and to join this growing business.
Wan Izul Islam, 7Edition.
So ladies, what are you waiting for? That game. Anyway, coming up, Bali bombing mastermind to be released early from prison. Details next.